I I committed a crime with my own daughter and went through a lot of denial and didn't want to face up to it. I tried to, but I have to say now, as I look back, I tried to do that my way, and and it didn't work out well. I had a lot of help during these 15 years here. Outside ministers coming in, and just I really was amazed at people that could help me with my struggles and face the facts and get me to see the real damage.
Those are choice words. I committed a crime with my daughter. That's what he says about what he did to his 12-year-old daughter for years. Now, he's been locked up and up for parole, but before we see this 2025 parole hearing, we are going to take a flashback to the past to his 2022 parole hearing, and it is led by No Way Roche, and man, does he give it to him. But with that, let's jump in.
Mr. Shelton, I need you to explain to this panel why have you been incarcerated for the last 12 and a half years? I need to tell us exactly what you did to plead guilty to aggravated incest.
I am quite humbled by the forgiveness you stated. To answer your question, I was arrested for aggravated incest in 2010, and I pled guilty for the wrongs that I did do. And at first, I didn't want to own them, but I had to come to some conclusions of my own. I had to see the harm, whether I intended it or not, which was my first self-defense. It was useless. It was wrong too. I always wanted to, not be, I didn't want to be wrong, but I was. But I got past that, and I seen the damage and the hurt and the wrong. This is my daughter. She should not have ever experienced such things. And I'm sorry. It's I feel hopeless in a lot of ways because I couldn't do nothing then, and even now, all I know is I'm sorry. I can't go back. I wish I could. I've done everything I can to try to make the future better. At least give her peace of mind that I'm doing what I can to not ever do this to anybody else. But I was arrested for aggravated incest. I pled guilty to it. Since that time, I've tried to do everything I can to change the things that caused that to occur or could cause that to occur or anything even remotely around it. And it leads me to today. This is, many years later, and obviously I've still not processed everything. I've done everything I can, but now to integrate with my family, that's all that's new to me. I've been in prison for 12 years.
Mr. Shelton,
Yes, sir.
you have not answered my question.
I'm sorry.
What did you do to cause your incarceration?
I committed aggravated incest with my daughter.
Just a question. Did you sexually molest your daughter?
Yes, sir. I sexually molested my daughter.
At what age?
She was a teenager.
She was 12 years old. That's not a teenager.
No. 12? No, not 12.
Our record says 12 or 13.
No, that's an error in the record.
Well, The record is the record, Mr. Shelton. Okay?
Well, I've never had that record. The record said,
So you sexually molested your biological daughter. Am I correct?
yes, sir.
Tell me why.
Well, that was the time during the opioid condition and my pain, and I was not my regular self. That doesn't excuse the crime. It's what created it. I regret it.
You said that you were only on the opioids 18 months. You molested this biological daughter until she was 17 or 18 years old.
I'm not
So,
sure what the record.
Don't blame the opioids.
Well, it was the conditions. I was intoxicated.
But I thought you said you didn't use alcohol.
On the drugs, on the pain. I was not my normal self. That was the condition. I'm not trying to excuse myself. It's wrong.
Mr. Shelton, all this victim wants is for you to own up to exactly what you did. To give her some reassurance that you won't do it again. She wants to know if you own up, and she wants to know, are you rehabilitated to the point that you will not be a danger to any other family members? That's all she wants, is for you to own up to exactly what you did. And you are skirting the issue. You're saying that she wasn't 12, she was, it's that much difference.
Right.
And
It's
you want
wrong.
to say it didn't last a long period of time. And she reported this when she was 18 or 19 years old, if I'm correct. Am I correct? When she was 20, when she reported it. So
We're having difficulty hearing you. I'm really struggling to hear you.
it's convenient for you not to hear the truth. She was 20 years old when she reported it.
That's correct. She was 20 years old when she reported it.
Okay. So as you say, she was 13 like you said she was. That was 7 years.
Yes, sir. That's accurate. 13 to 17 is accurate. Yes, sir.
But it just didn't happen once or twice. It happened over a long period of time. And
Well, to be as open as I can.
want you to own up and just say that you sexually molested your daughter.
I did, and I do now. I'm trying to say it discreetly. I don't know how far to go. It's like,
Well, you can tell us the truth. You don't have to be discreet.
I went to my daughter in a confused state, and that's not my excuse. And I try to use her for affections to try to deal with my pains and my issues, and that was wrong. This is what happened. And then it migrated from her early age to some incidents that were of a sexual nature is she was an older teenager. Prior to this, I could see why when she was later, an older teenager, why she would reflect back at these things and say, oh, this is all the same. I understand that. But the things that occurred when she was an older teenager, I can't recall the times. I'm telling the truth. I can't remember all the dates and times. That's part of the trauma I went through for those years. My memory is, I have to go by the record. I had to go read my medical records to find out what year it was. This is what really happened. I'm not telling you. Story. This is what really, yes, sir.
Today is July 27, 2022. Is it that difficult for you to admit that you say that you sexually molested your daughter over a period of 7 years?
No, sir, it's not too difficult to say that.
Say it.
Okay. From 2004 through, I'm trying to get my calculations. It's hard for me to think. I'm nervous. From 2004 forward, I molested my daughter sexually and wrongfully affection toward my own daughter. And I hurt her and I confused her. I don't know what else to say as far as it went with us.
That
I'm sorry.
You just taking responsibility for your actions.
Yes, sir.
You
I did
just
that.
take
Didn't ask for any
responsibility.
of this.
Now,
She-
I understand that you've been married for 37 years. Is that correct?
Married 37 years.
I've been married for 37 years.
Yes. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I mumbled. Yes, sir. I've been married for 37 years to my wife.
And where was your wife when all this was going on?
She was unaware until I made her aware and told her what happened. Prior to prison, I sat down at the table and told my daughter and my wife what I'd done. She was informed by me. But prior to this, it was affections. When the sexual encounters that were battery type things, the legal language says, I told my family when it happened, I said, this happened. Sat down at the kitchen table in an RV, my daughter sitting across me, my wife sitting across me. I sat down and I told them what I had done, just similar to what I tried to do here. And it was wrong. And then if you listen to her, she'll tell you there was a point from that point forward, nothing ever happened. And it's like, I was on this downward spiral. And I will never use cheating, I'll never use as an excuse.
Shelton, let me stop you right there. Because I don't want you to dig another hole that you might get buried in. So let me stop you there. Let's talk about your disciplinary issue. How many disciplinary write-ups have you had since you've been incarcerated?
I think I had 5, if I remember correctly.
And your last 2 disciplinary write-ups were in 2017?
That's correct. I would think it's 2017.
Yeah. And got a number 5 for aggravated disobedience. Do you remember what happened?
Yes, sir. I was going to the ed building to go to one of my call outs, and there was no security in the building at the time. So I left, and I encountered security, and they told me to go back to the dorm and not to come back. So when I went to the dorm, the sergeant there sent me back. Anyhow, I got caught in a crossfire there, and she told me not to return, so I should have explained it better to the sergeant in the dorm. So I went back to the building. She said, I thought I told you. And so I disobeyed a direct order and came back. We did iron it out later. You know, we did iron it out. I took my
I understand.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about your transition plan. Tell us about your transition plan, where you're gonna live and where you're gonna work.
Wow. If my transition plan starts with a home with that wife of 37 years, who's going to help me plug into the parole process. I'm totally new to it. I've never been out on parole, but I'm going to get involved with that, get my parole set up. I have a job waiting. I have transportation. I have contractors that are going to support our little company and help us just, stay in the right direction. I have Brother Joe, who's here today, or Brother Stephen Roselle, a pastor who's going to help me, reestablish me, keep me plugged into the right kind of things that keep me strong. I have family support. Man, I'm so humbled that my family, and now just to hear the forgiveness, that helps me even more. So that goes in my plan, is to not disappoint her. She's invested a lot in that forgiveness, and I'm going to move in on that and stay focused. I'm going to enroll myself.
So you're gonna live in a family home, am I correct?
Yes, sir. I sure am.
Are you aware that you will have to register as a sex offender
Yes, sir.
of the duration? And your children will not be allowed to bring your grandchildren, or any of your relatives be allowed to bring their children to your home for holidays or special occasions?
I'm learning these things, but yes, sir. I'm aware of that now.
So basically, by you living in your family home, you will stop any interrelationship of a normal family on holidays and special occasions.
Right. I understand that.
And you know that you have to continue your sex offender classes if and when you're released.
I was planning on doing that if it wasn't required. I'd already made arrangements on my own.
They will be a part of your sex offender contract.
I understand.
So what is your current job at the facility right now?
I am a HVAC technician. I work for maintenance. Primarily, my job is to work on the ventilation equipment, air conditioning, and the ice machines.
And how long have you been doing that?
A couple of years now, a little over 2 years. I've had a couple of evaluations, and they like me. I've been doing pretty good work, and I feel it's getting me ready for re-entry too.
Mrs. Shelton, you have done very well in 12 years of your incarceration. You've taken a lot of programs. You fulfilled your sex offender obligation by completing all 4 phases of the sex offender treatment. Tell me about phase 4, when you facilitated the program. What did you get out of that program, and what did you transmit to other offenders that were in the program when you facilitated the program?
Primarily, the content of all 4 phases leads to the offender recognizing the events, behavior patterns, habits, any kind of patterns in their life. Help. We try to addresses getting them to recognize what leads to an offense and how to avoid that. That's the primary focus of it, of the whole program, is the reoffending process. But in the phases of each one, you address your condition, your environment, and how you position yourself in that environment. And that's a general statement of the BETG program.
you survive without any electronic devices? I understand that computers and laptops and iPads are off limits because of the availability of the internet. I think, am I right, Mr. Freeman?
Yeah, computers, I know, and laptops.
Yeah. And you won't be able to use them. How will you survive without using modern day technology?
Well, I didn't know that, but it's kind of a paradoxical situation with my business. I took a computer class here over the last 2 years, and I just got my last certification that's offered. And so I wanted to learn and be ready for that. But I prided myself for 20 plus years of having a business that operated on paper, and technology was not a part of our administration's process. So I think I'll be fine. I did not know. I'm learning. Like I said, I'm learning the parole process and what will won't be available to me. That's not taught in BEDG, or we don't teach that or know that information. But I understand what you're informing me of today, and I'm going to take what I have and what's offered to me and work with that. And if I can do this in prison, I understand for my family, especially my spouse, my home is going to become an extension to prison. I understand that, but it's a better place for me than it is here. So I'm going to respect that. There's rules and regulations there, just like here, and I'll have to obey those rules. I'll learn them, I'll obey them, and I'll live a good life. I got myself in this a long time ago, and this is the process, then I'm staying in the process.
Your parole officer will inform you of the stipulations under that sex offender contract. But I think laptops and computers are one of the things that you will not be able to use. Warren Bickham, do you have any comments?
Yes, sir. Well, y'all pretty much covered what I had. Jesse does work for our maintenance department. He works on the HVAC equipment, been doing it for a while, and been a pretty good worker with it. And y'all saw all the courses and facilitation that he's done for us.
Thank you, Warren.
Yes, sir.
Parabella.
Mr. Shelton, be real honest with you. This type of offense is very troubling to me, and very concerned. Can you not hear me? I can speak louder.
It's digitizing. Sometimes your words don't come through.
I'm trying to speak slower if that will help you. You've indicated as to the why you did this because you were intoxicated or on drugs or whatever. I've been in this business a long time. I was a defense lawyer, a prosecutor, a judge, and now I'm on this panel here. These kinds of offenses have always been of concern to me. I've always believed that whoever commits these kinds of offenses have some sort of mental health or emotional issues. Have you had mental health evaluations while you've been in prison?
Yes, sir.
What have you learned about yourself?
Well, I learned that I had harbored issues in my heart, pain, resentments from my own past, but I try not to bring it up in a setting like this, except when you ask, because I don't want to appear like I'm a victim. My daughter's a victim.
If you tell people those things, you're not going to get my vote. So I need to know what motivated. So I need to know what motivated you to do this, whether you have learned anything about it or whether you figured out who you were. Normal people don't do this. There's generally speaking some underlying issue that causes this. I've read through your reports. It appears to me that you have had over your lifetime while you were out a very controlling personality, a very manipulating personality. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir. I had control
So
issues.
Okay, so tell me what you've done to address those things and how did you learn about this?
Okay, I understand more clearly now. I apologize. The control issues were a reflection of that pain I was describing in my own life. But the control issues, I had to come to grips. You're not in control, Jesse. I tried to be Mr. Independent, in control, and I lacked involving myself.
Tell me what gave you that realization. I never heard you say anything about that. All of the questions that Mr. Roche asked you, your answers were, well, it was the drugs, it was this, it was that. I want to know about the man that you were and who you are today. A man was ill who performed these criminal acts. And I don't buy that pain medication made you do that. I've dealt with drug users forever. Very few of them are child molesters.
No.
So I'm
right.
trying to figure out what it is. You know, you speak very well. You've taken hundreds of courses. A lot of people take educational courses. They learn things in their head, but they don't seem to understand it in their hearts. So I want you to tell me who you were, who was the man who molested his natural daughter for, by your recollection, 4 years. And how is that person changed? What motivated you? I'm not buying alcohol. I'm not buying opioids. So what was it in you that made you do it?
I sought to get out of my daughter through sex or sexual acts, a satisfaction to deal with my problems in life. Ultimately, as I learned from these programs, I had to own this myself. It's easy to teach someone else and see them do it. Control was one aspect. Trying to satisfy an appetite in your heart towards your pains, problems, or whatever mine was pains and problems, using sex as a drug or as a cure. First, it started with affections with my daughter. I wasn't trying to do it. I did it. I can't say that I planned it out and strategized, but I did it. I started off with affection. The next, no, it's to this level. And then I catch myself in the middle of wrongfully, sexually touching my daughter. In so much my conscience woke up. I said, no, this is not who I am. I brought it to my family table and said, this is what I did. And I told them what I did. I told them what I did.
Because you didn't volunteer this. Once it came to light, you admitted what you did.
Nobody
right?
caught me. Nobody caught me. Nobody caught me. My conscience caught me. I hated myself. I seen what I did. I started with affections and a heart and emotions, and then it migrated to too much touching, then a sexual touching situation. And when it got to that level, it shocked me. I sobered myself up. I said, wait a minute, who are you? Are you some kind of animal or something? My daughter confronted me. She said, this is not right, Dad. And I agreed with her. That's what happened.
Thank you, sir. That's all.
I'm sorry, you know.
I have additional questions. So you self-reported and had a conference with your family and talked about this, right?
Did you understand?
Sorry, repeat it, Mr. Secretary.
Great. So you self-reported and had a conference with your family to tell your family that you were molesting your daughter before you were arrested.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, yes, sir.
So why did your daughter have to invite you to Starbucks coffee to get the evidence that you molested her so that the police could arrest you?
I don't know.
Why did you turn yourself into the police?
No, I didn't turn myself into the police. No, I turned myself over to my family.
What I'm saying is, why didn't you turn yourself in? Why did your daughter have to wear a listening device at Starbucks coffee to gain evidence so that the police could arrest you?
I was in denial. I didn't want to accept that. I didn't want to go to prison. That's what I was doing then. I was in denial.
Thank you, sir. Let's hear from Michelle Shelton, his wife. Ms. Shelton, would you please open your mic? Yes, Ms. Shelton, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Michelle.
Would you like to make a statement?
Yes, I'd like to make a statement. I'm Michelle Shelton, and I've been with Jessie Shelton since we were 16 years old. It's been a very long road. Both he and I had some very difficult childhood issues. We grew together. We overcame much together. There's anybody that knows Jessie Shelton, it's me. We've had our struggles through the years. Jessie had some control issues. I can't answer for him, but I do know his life, his background, which y'all do not know. And a lot of that stemmed from some issues that he went through as a child, and me. We were two children who clung together, grew up together, and sacrificed so much to raise three amazing children. Unfortunately, as I said in my letter, there were some injuries, legitimate. One started, he lost a thumb the day our first child was born, due to be born. A lot of neurological issues. I know I have the medical facts. I'm a person who keeps records, and I had no idea why, but I know now. I have records of these injuries. I say all that not as trying to make an excuse. I'm saying some facts. There were injuries, there were medications. Jessie is a little off with the amount of time he was on medications. It was a lot longer than 18 months. In fact, my sister, who is a registered nurse, at one time I went to her crying because Jessie was not himself. And she saw he was on 6 pain meds at one time. We multiple times flushed him down the toilet. In doctor records they had no other option but to write chronic pain. They had no idea how to help him. He was in a different state of mind. The incarceration, the wrong things that happened, they're sickening, they're awful to hear. But as a person who's been with him since 16 years old, I do not believe there was an actual deep planning and deep intent to do these things to our daughter. It happened, and it's awful. And believe me, it's a struggle even trying to compute it. But I have determined, because I know my daughter, I know my husband, I know our family, I'm determined to work through this. And should he be granted parole, as I've proven 12 and a half years to stick by him, I'll make sure that he takes part in these programs. He's willing to. I look forward to continuing to another level of healing and bettering ourselves. He's done a whole lot there at Rayburn. I've seen him grow, I've seen him change, but there is a certain level of growth that can come once he has the freedom. We need the freedom to just be able to cry and grieve. We've not been able to do that even. And I ask your approval. I beg for your approval to give him the chance to prove himself. I believe I have absolutely no hesitation in saying he's not going to reoffend. That's not his character. That's not who he is. He's healed. Being at Rayburn, he's had the demobilization. That nerve damage is healed. He's not on any medications and do not ever intend on being on any more medications. I hope you can sincerely hear me. I love my daughter. I'm doing my very best to keep communications with her. We've done that over the years. There's still some very difficult issues that we need to face, but I'm willing to work on it. I'm willing to face that because I believe in my family. So I just ask for your approval today. And
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you being here today, and we understand that you will do everything possible to keep the family together.
thank you.
Now, we're going to hear from your son, Andrew.
Yes, hello. I'm Andrew Shelton. That's my dad sitting over there. I've kind of been trying to think of, what I would say. Never been to a parole board hearing before. But after kind of seeing the process and everything, I want to say I'm here to support my dad. I was in the military for 10 years, and I moved away from home and kind of got away from the situation that was going on in my family, and started a family of my own, and now have moved back here. And being able to visit my dad in prison, we've had some hard conversations, as you can imagine, and we've had some breakthroughs, I think, in our relationship. And I do believe my father is changed. He's changed a lot over this past decade and some more. And I just wanted to be here, show my support. If he needs a ride to therapy, if he needs whatever, I'll be here for him as part of his network. If you guys decide that he can go on parole. So that being said, I think that's it.
Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Let's hear from Stephen Roselle. Pastor?
Yes, my name is Joe Roselle, and I'm the pastor at Magnolia Baptist in Covington. And I've known Jessie for some 18 years now, prior to incarceration and through incarceration. And as well, we've talked and we've discussed what went on, and I believe that Jessie has absolutely changed. He is absolutely not the same person that he was when he went in. And I believe that he is his desire is that he would be able to be paroled and to be able to be with his wife and his son and his family, and there to be some form of healing there after incarceration. But like I said, I've known him very well. He's totally changed. As a pastor, of course, we pray together, and we've had some pretty serious conversations over what was done, and he's confessed that, he owns that, he knows that, and his desire is to change that. And so also As his pastor, our desire is that when he gets out, that we'll be there for him to help him and to encourage him to take part in his parole, as well as spiritual classes that will keep him on the right path and the right course there. But I can honestly say, I do not believe there would ever be an intention or of ever doing something like this again, ever. And so that's what I wanted to say.
That completes testimony by supporters. Ms. Carter, would you like to make your presentation?
Hi, yes, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you all. Please let me know if you're having trouble hearing me. There has been a little bit of a delay when the members of the parole board have been asking questions. Are you able to hear me so I can move forward with my statement?
We're fine.
Great, thank you, Honorable Chairperson, Mr. Roche. So this has been a long hearing. It's been very emotional. I want to emphasize a few things. As you can see, first, I do want to apologize. There was a mistake that I made in the parole packet. I realized that Mr. Shelton's last write-up was in 2017, and I think I wrote 8 years, and that is a mistake that I made, and I apologize for that. Please don't let that reflect on Mr. Shelton. I have been representing Jessie for over a year now, working with him on getting to know him, getting ready for the parole hearing, and on some other legal matters. And I've been very moved by my representation and work with Jessie. Like Judge Marabella, as a defense attorney, working with sex offense cases is extremely difficult. It is a very emotional and challenging, morally and ethically place to be. But Jessie has always risen to the occasion in terms of our conversations about remorse, working through what and communicating how he has changed as a human being. And I want to touch a little bit more on that because he's he doesn't have a college degree, he does not have any kind of expertise in mental health work, but some of these programs that he has done and completed, I think, demonstrates some of the internal work that he's had to do to answer the question that Judge Marabella rose about what brought him to the place to commit the crimes that he did. He mentioned about the alcoholic family that he raised, the loss of his mother. He did not tell you all that he was electrocuted and fell off a ladder. He had extreme, very serious injuries from his construction occupation. He did not mention to you all that he used his opportunity at Rayburn to physically heal himself. He went through, Rayburn provided physical therapy to him. And through that physical therapy and nutrition, as he mentioned, and diet, he's pain-free at this point. And if you were to look at his medical records, and I know this because I have clients who are incarcerated that are on anti-inflammatories, that are on, what's the word I'm looking for? Muscle relaxers, and the pain medication that they're able to give at DOC. And Jessie is on none of that, which is a commitment, as someone who also has had their own back injury, to a commitment to your own spiritual and physical well-being to make sure that you are pain-free through the physical therapy and physical work on your own body, as well as the emotional work. AA and NA, as well as the recovery classes, I think from what Jessie has talked to me, has helped him assess the problems from his childhood, the issues that he was experiencing while he was an adult that led to his offense, and how he has worked on healing those so that he can maintain a family relationship with his wife and his sons. He knows that he's not supposed to be in communication with his daughter. But the fact that he's maintained that commitment to his family, despite the hardship that a family goes through when there is a sex offense like aggravated incest, demonstrates that the family and Jessie are in this to heal. And I think an opportunity to finish his sentence on parole would allow that healing process to continue, because otherwise the prison is somewhat of a barrier to allow them to move that healing process forward. And I believe that process would continue both through his relationship with his wife and his son. And as you can, I have not read the letter from his daughter, but it's inspiring, the work that that young woman has done to get to the place to forgive her father and indicate that it sounds like that she's okay with him coming home on parole. She's no longer in that area, so they would not be in contact with each other. And I believe that the fact that he has such a strong reentry program, or reentry plan, I should say. He's got his own business that his wife has maintained. That business contracts with other contractors who, as we all know, contractors are very busy right now. So there's plenty of work for Jessie to do. He's done all the programming to get prepared in order to do that work. And you can certainly have a flip phone to take those calls in order to keep that construction business moving forward. I know other folks who do that. You don't have to have a smartphone. You don't have to have a computer nowadays in order to still run. My contractor just shows up when it's time for him to come. And so I do think that the efforts that Jessie has made demonstrate that he has taken his prison time seriously, that he is remorseful for the harm that he has done, not just to his daughter, but to his entire family. He's worked tirelessly to continue to build those relationships, to apologize, to demonstrate that he's a changed person. And he has such a strong faith and spiritual foundation that I think he has the tools to succeed under parole supervision. I mean, he's not going to be a free person. If you were to parole him, he would be under extreme supervision. He'd have to continue his sex offender classes. And I think he's ready for that next step, to be under supervision, but to not be a free person. And so I'm of course happy to answer any additional questions that the parole board has. I know this has been a long hearing, but I certainly encourage you all to grant Jessie the opportunity to finish his sentence on parole. I believe he is ready and taken the classes and is a changed person for that next step in the criminal justice proceeding. Thank you.
Ma'am, I just want to make a statement. I checked with some of our people at probation and parole. He can have electronic devices, but they can be inspected by the probation officer at any time.
That sounds about right. I mean, and if you're on parole, you're obviously, your level of expectation of privacy is very different. And I would trust that Jessie would be able to, I mean, he's, as demonstrated, he hasn't had to write it from 2017. I think he's fully shown that he's able to follow the rules, the heightened rules, right? Because prison is not being free. There's other rules that you have to do that you wouldn't have if you're a free person, and it's the same on parole. And so I think he's ready for that next step.
Okay. Just wanted to advise.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Shelton,
Yes, sir.
would like to make a brief statement and limit that statement to why this panel should vote to release you.
First of all, I want to thank this panel for giving me this opportunity today. I'm truly sorry for the crime I committed. I own it. I understand. I may not have it all totally ironed out, and I know there's work to be done. But today, I accept responsibility and the fallout of the past. But I'm prepared and ready to move from the present preparations that DOC afforded me into a future that parole may afford me. I look forward to that. I feel like I've equipped myself for it. I believe that if given the opportunity, I would not disappoint. I'm compelled to do so. I think my record reflects that my commitments, my disciplines are refined, that I'm not just a safe soap prisoner, that I'm actually a doer. I think if I had time and others that could testify under my facilitation, they would say the same, that I'm genuine. I want to be genuine. I try to be genuine. And so as I face the future, my potential for being this candidate today, I think I should be afforded this opportunity based on my past acceptance of my crimes, my present preparations, and the support, the tremendous support that I'm getting from outside. I could never ask for more than this. This is overwhelming today. I apologize for my nervousness, but I just wanted to say these few comments and give my thanks to this board for this opportunity. Thank you.
Chairman, I move that we go to executive session to discuss confidential matters.
Second.
We have a motion to go into executive session, and it's been seconded. Ms. Paroled, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Mayor Bauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Executive session, they're gonna discuss it amongst themselves.
That was a 5-minute executive session, far too long.
The
to me.
Committee on Parole is back in session. It is 11:21 a.m. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Shelton, I'm going to vote first because your case was assigned to me. This was a very rough case for me. This is the last thing I did before I went to bed last night. I read everything 3 times. It was a lengthy case. I knew exactly what you did and how you did it. I read your daughter's letter of 2019 and her letter of 2022. And she seems to be a very gracious young lady. And all she wants is you to take responsibility and own up to what you did and stop being controlling and being self-controlling and being manipulated. It took 10 or 15 minutes for me to pull it out of you. You had to own up to it, Jim. I don't think you really realize the devastation. And we use your daughter's word, how vile this offense was to her. I've always said, and I did a lot of prep when I got appointed to this position 6.5 years ago. The first step to rehabilitation is to own up and take responsibility for what you did. You came out and said it this morning, but I don't think you're taking full responsibility for your actions. I don't think you were completely truthful with this panel this morning about how this offense got reported. You have tremendous opposition from the legal community. Not very often and we hear from a sitting judge or a judge that sentenced you. But this judge said in a statement of opposition, the DA's office opposes the law enforcement opposition. For all the reasons I've mentioned, like a responsibility, not being completely truthful, in law enforcement opposition, judicial opposition, I'm going to vote to deny your request, and basically because you're not ready to be released. Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Shelton, you've done a lot of good things in prison. You have a good disciplinary record. I also read your daughter's letter several times. My vote would be to grant your parole, and that you follow all rules of the sex offender contract, be placed on electronic monitoring, and no contact with the victim unless it is initiated by her and the parole officer is advised of the contact.
Mr. Marabella.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Shelton, as I stated to you earlier, this is a hard case. This is a very, very difficult case. And this is sort of the case that oftentimes a board member has to go on their gut as opposed to what they actually see. I understand you've got law enforcement opposition. I understand all of those. Those things don't necessarily influence me that much. It's important, and it's something that I really look at. What I look at in a case like this is whether or not you really have gotten in touch with yourself about what you did. And you have taken tremendous courses. There's no question. And you may not be college educated, you may not have a formal education, but you're a very bright man. There's no question. You're very learned. You've learned a lot of things on paper. I just don't know if you've gotten it really into the heart yet. I think that my concerns are very similar to what Mr. O'Shea expressed. We had to pull things out of you. I don't think you were really honest about what happened, about how long it was, but that neither here nor there. 4 years by your admission is a long time. I don't believe it was just the opiates that caused all this. I think it's something deeper than that, and I'm not convinced you've addressed that yet. So my vote likewise would be to deny. I would encourage you to reapply when you can, but today my vote is to deny.
Mr. Shelton, you will receive 1 vote to grant your request with conditions, and you will receive 2 votes to deny your early release. The decision of the panel today is to deny your request. You have a good day.
Now, fast forward to July of 2025, just 2 years later, and he is back for parole. Now, I got to tell you, we'll jump right into this hearing, and I'll save my venting and unpacking for the end. But can you even imagine? I don't know what Mr. Pete Freeman is thinking. I mean, I think he's got whatever. I don't want to talk, but can you even imagine that his wife, that his cockroach wife, is actually there saying the things that she's saying? It is unimaginable. I think that we are all so disgusted by that it's just infuriating. Anyways, let's jump into this hearing, and God, I hope. Anyways, let's go.
So the first step of it is for you to tell us why you're there, what you did, what's changed in your life, and that sort of thing. Tell us, convince us something.
The first part of the question was why I'm here.
I'll let you answer whichever part you want. I was just giving that as an example.
All right.
Tell us about yourself.
Well, I've been at Rayburn here and in prison for 15 years. As soon as I got here, I seen that I had a lot of time. I wanted to pursue what I could. And at that time, what was available was academics. And so I probably got a little aggressive with my education, but I dove into it. I acquired 4 college degrees and helped 300 inmates get their diplomas as a tutor, and entered every kind of program I could find. And I was new to prison, so it was difficult. And I just wanted to keep my mind busy and stay focused on my future rather than what was going on in prison. It was easy to get caught up in prison. I could see that. And I didn't want to fall into depression and all the difficulties of prison. And so I made academics my pursuit. We had a fantastic lady here, Deborah Cook, who headed up that department and really gave us some alternatives. And I spent most of my 15 years helping other men do the same. This has been my pursuit. Right now, I am currently working for HVAC. I went through my academic years, my first 8 years, then I pursued vocation for several years and got 3 certifications to automotive. I got a business degree. That was one of my 4 college degrees. And I got a business degree in the academics and a couple of religious degrees. But I pursued, like at this time, my academics were behind me. So I pursued the vocation became available as my time got shorter. And so I followed that with my last 4, maybe 5 years. I've been working for HVAC, taking what I learned in building technology and just preparing myself for my future, my jobs when I come home.
Okay.
But I mean, there's more. I've been here 15 years, so there's a lot. That's the condensed version.
Move on to the crime itself.
Okay.
Tell us about the crime and what you did wrong and what you do differently.
All right. All right. My crime is aggravated incest, and this occurred in 03 when well, around that time, and it was not a very bright chapter in my life. I was going through difficulties, and unfortunately, I want to be careful how I say what I say, but I want to be honest. I committed a sexual crime with my own daughter, and went through a lot of denial and didn't want to face up to it. I tried to, but I have to say now, as I look back, I tried to do that my way, and it didn't work out well. I had a lot of help during these 15 years here. You know, outside ministers coming in, and just I really was amazed at people that could help me with my struggles and face the facts and get me to see the real damage. One of the results that came from me confronting myself and issues from my own past and acknowledging how that really affected my daughter, the victim in this crime. I pursued here what we have a victim awareness class. And that tool, trying to work with others who have done this and deal with my own issues, made me really, Mr. Prater, made me look deeper into who I am and why these things happen. And fortunately, there's a lot of good programs here. Men will take advantage of them. But you got to want. And I think my want to got changed. And by God's help, I psychologically, you can't fix yourself. And I know that I've done everything in my power to do what I could do, and then had to realize that would never be enough. Then outside help, like I said, came in and brought to me freshness and said, listen, you need to work on this. You need to work on that. And I put behind me what I had behind. And the last hearing, it was amazing. I guess I didn't know how badly I needed forgiveness. But I was told you can't pursue that. You can't pursue getting forgiveness from your victim. That's inappropriate. And I agree. But when she offered forgiveness in that last hearing, and even Mr. Roche read a part of that, it opened a whole new chapter. These last 3 years since that last meeting, it's really helped me see a future I can own. You can plan for it and want it, and it's all sounds great, but if it's not personal, real, and the release I've gotten, I'm free. I hope this board can let me go in good conscience, your good conscience, and begin the next chapter of my life. But I wasn't ready until I put those things behind me. In these past 3 years, I've spent really delving in. I don't know how to, I'm lost for words, but I'm grateful. I'm shocked really at the potential I still have. I guess I threw myself, my hopes away when I came to prison in some aspect. And it's not about me, but if I'm going to go out and be who I am going to be, I need to be a father. I need to be a husband. I need to be a man of integrity and have some stability in my life. And I believe because I dealt with the things the last 3 years, that I'm more equipped to do that. And I guess that's how I have wrapped that part up.
All right, thank you. Warden, what kind of fella has he been?
So he's been here since 2011 with only 6 disciplinary issues. The last one's been in 2017. He is working in our maintenance department here with the HVAC. And most every time I go into the church and religious services, he's in there in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate that. We'll go ahead and hear from the 3 folks that are behind you. Whichever one wants to speak, if you would keep it to around 2 or 3 minutes, we'd appreciate that.
Sure. Hi, I'm Ch0m0. Shelton. I'm Jesse's wife. Here speaking on his behalf. We've been together since we were 16 years old. If there's anyone who's been there, who knows him, it's me. And we've been through some horrific things in our life. We grew up together, still growing up together. But the main thing I wanted to say today is that I've seen so much progress in Jessie. There are a lot of things I believe that we still need to face in counseling that just can't be done. With the separation that we have here. I know I'm looking to seek some counseling together and individually in the future. And I'm here to say that I'll be the one who will make sure that he has a place to live, transportation, to and from obligations he may have should he be released. Seek that counseling. And working together toward proper healing. It's very difficult with a proper healing process when you're separated. And so I'm asking that you would consider giving him that opportunity.
Okay.
Yes,
You're his wife,
yes,
your kids, you have kids together?
yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate that. We'll move on now to, let's see, who would like to speak next? Carl? Okay. Carl Shelton.
I'm Carl Ch0m0. I'm his older brother, and I've known him all my life, and I'm here for support. So if he does get out, he needs talk or help, I'm here available for him. You know, I've been seeing him all throughout the years and seeing his progress.
I really don't know the deep details, because I didn't want to get into it, but I'm here for moral support to better the life, better his life.
Okay.
Things
All right.
heal.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you being here and thank you for your words. We'll take them into consideration. Mr. Shannon Burris, Pastor Burris.
Burns, Burns, sir.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Burns.
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 Burns, yes, sir.
Okay, Pastor, tell us what's on your mind.
Okay, I've known Jessie since he and Michelle were young married people with babies. And I just want to say that I had Jessie committed a crime that was reprehensible, and he recognizes that. And but that wasn't the totality of the Jessie Shelton I knew. He was also a fine man in many ways. He was a benefit to our church and our community, and we're sorry that he did what he did, but he's paid a high price for that already. He's paid a pretty heavy debt, and the God that I serve is a God of judgment as well as mercy, and he has mercy in with his judgment. So I believe. I don't believe holding Jessie a lot more years would actually make a big difference in his recovery. In other words, if he hadn't responded now, I don't know that he would if you hold him a lot more years. I just feel like I'd love to see him have a chance to prove himself again in the community.
Should Mr. Shelton be released, what would you allow him to do in terms of your church? Any activities?
He wouldn't be allowed, as far as our church is concerned, he wouldn't be allowed to have any authoritative responsibilities at all.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate that very much. And now it's time for us to ask any questions that we have. And Mr. Shelton, I don't want to. We handle a lot of these cases. We get tired of reading them, and we get tired of talking about them. And I know in this case with aggravated incest, we don't necessarily want to go over everything that occurred, but it's a horrible crime. At one time, you said it wasn't sexual. Was this a sexual crime?
The nature of the crime is titled sexual. So when I say sexual, yes, that's it. With my reservations in the past, and I have sorted through these past 3 years. I really have, because I know I need to answer this. Yes, it was sexual. My defenses in the past, I have to give those up, were based on, well, I didn't intend to do it. My intentions, well, that doesn't change a hill of beans about the consequences. They still fall out the same. She's still traumatized regardless of whatever you want to say about what your motives were. And when I communicated that, of course, it's going to go like it sounded, just like it sounded. And I go, well, you can have these reservations, but you better understand the rest of the story. And that is, I can't in good conscience say it wasn't a sex crime at all. I mean, I know you don't want to go into the details, and I thank you for sparing me that. But it's like, yes, it was definitely sexual in nature. If a third party, a date of hers had done what I would be on that in a way that would not be good. But it took a while for me to see that. So I know the first 2 hearings, I was still saying the same thing, and I'd have to just change my viewpoint on how to communicate this, not just to say the right words so you hear them. Man, I have to dig down and find out what was I really doing. That's what I was doing. I wasn't trying to belittle the crime. I was just failing to see.
Okay, and you pled guilty to aggravated incest, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions I have. Ms. Ledoux?
I'd like to go into executive session.
Okay, we have a motion to go into executive session. Do we have a vote on that, please? We need a second first.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna go into executive session for just a moment to discuss some procedural matters, and then we're going to come back and let you know what our vote is. All right?
Thank you.
Okay, we're returning from executive session, and now's the time that we will vote, but we need a motion and a second to come out of
So
executive.
moved.
Got a motion and a second to come out of executive session, and I don't think there's anyone opposed. So we're now out of executive session and back into regular session. All right, Mr. Shelton, I'm the one, this case was assigned to me in particular to do the interview, and I have. And so I'm gonna vote first, and my vote is to deny your parole request. I think we need to go ahead and, in my opinion, serve out the rest of your time. You've done great while you're there, but we still have the issue of the fact that it was such a horrible crime, in my estimation, aggravated incest. So my vote is to deny.
My vote also is to deny.
My vote is to grant parole with some strenuous conditions. Your release would be in 2029. That gives the probation and parole officers time to review your conduct and watch you closely. But you needed a unanimous vote today.
Okay, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your parole request has been denied. The time is 9:47 in the morning.
Okay, and he's going to have to finish his 20-year sentence in prison. He'll get out in 2029, and thankfully, he's not able to come up for another parole hearing in 2 years because they've updated the legislation when it comes to sex crimes. Now you have to wait 5 years. So he's done. He's cooked for a little bit. I mean, just for a little bit. Let's think about this. I've been holding this in. Just how insane is it with these supporters? Where do we start with his wife? You know, it was interesting. Chucky even was shocked, and he said, "You have kids with him? I mean, you stay with this monster, you pick him over your child." She doesn't even hear the irony in it when she says, we've been together since we were 16. She doesn't have any, and someone like that, you need to be in prison with your husband. You are part of the problem, lady. Shame on you. You know, we almost forget, like Mr. O'Shea brought up in the beginning, because he does his homework, he does his research, that this monster, this roach, was only caught because of the bravery of his daughter, the bravery of the survivor. She put on a bug. She worked in collaboration with the police to get him to confess in the restaurant. And her saying she forgives him or whatever, that, remember, you have to take any of that with just a step back and remember that she is isolated. She is left alone. Her own mother is not on her side. What choice does she even have? You know, you got to remember that. And then Miss Stapleton, Miss Ledoux, and I get it. So she said, I wanted to grant now because of having this supervision. And we see that happen in Connecticut. We see it happen in other states. And it's an interesting question. It's like, hey, have him under supervision, um, you know, for whatever reason. But I don't really get that logic, because it's like, okay, so he's under supervision for a few more years. Like, why not just have him in supervision in prison? It's like, well, like, I don't really get it. I just don't. But then, with the question that she asked, which was a great question to the priest, what involvement will he have in your church? Can you imagine this preacher? It's like, it's so insane. The words that he used: we are sorry he did what he did. This is the priest. We are sorry he did what he did, but he already paid a big debt for that. I've known, like, it just makes you wonder what's going on in his church. Like, what makes you stand up and say, this is what I'm going to represent. I'm going to represent a cockroach. I am going to represent a father, I dare say that word, those words, a monster. Even till this day, this monster can't admit what he's done. Even till this day, he is still using manipulation and lies and dishonesty. Even the way that the praetor opened it up and let him start the parole hearing, and he gives off a 10-minute ramble about programs and certificates. And the priest answers Miss LeDoux's question with, well, in my church, you won't be allowed to have any authoritative position. Not, he won't be allowed around children. Not, well, look, I mean, we're going to have a bit. No, he can't have an authoritative position. When he answers, he says, well, the nature of my crime is titled sexual. Those are the words he used when asked to say what he did. Titled sexual. But my intentions were different. But I get it. My daughter still feels traumatized. At the beginning, in the first hearing, when Mr. O'Shea says 12 years old, or was it 12 or 13, and he's like, no. I just can't get over his wife. It's like, what makes you do that? What makes you defend this person who you need to protect your daughter from? You do not. That's it. Period. Like, how is it that you are missing that innate, like, instinct, animal instinct, to protect your biological daughter from a monster? And it's so uncanny. It's I think it's the monsters, the roaches, that find the perfect enablers for them, because we see this in these parole hearings, and they are almost always surrounded by enablers that will talk about the flying turtles and the rainbows and the unicorns and the butterflies, about the most horrific kind of crime. They talk about these people and they'll say the words "pillar of my community," the strength of our relationship, and whatever, like, words. And you just say, how can you, like there's so much clarity of what's right and what's wrong, what's evil, and I think that's just what makes us so. And you know what's crazy too is this case. He got 20 years, and it just makes you wonder again. Like you had a recorded confession, you had the collaboration with the police. You know, why is it even only 20 years? Why is it not a life sentence? How can you go from, what was it, 12 to 18, 6 years? You know, he's gonna get out. He's 59 years old. So he'll be 64. I mean, that's decades left for him to be a predator. You know, I really do like how Mr. Mirabella and Ms. Roche handled this case. They're like, he's like, you have a mental illness. You know, they say what it was. Man, I miss the old parole board. I do. I do. There's a very different style. And this newer parole board, they kind of like made their decision. I mean, they went into an executive session. I don't know. They did it last time too, in executive session. But thank you, Lady Holly and Sir Richard, for connecting the dots on these hearings. There are so many right now, return ofs, hearings that we've covered before. So, you know, you might have seen this one that we've covered. So make sure to check out the return of playlist. I'll put a link to it in the description. We'll go to Lady Holly's document here. You know, there were no official information, you know, appeals or anything. There's something where a judge, it was just, he tried to get like a judge to recuse himself, but it doesn't go into details of the crime. But we're able to connect these dots on these older hearings and the new hearings because of the spreadsheet and because of here, I can share it with you. As you can see, here's the spreadsheet here. Look, Lady Holly, this is her emoji. She's here working. So this is the hearing, Jessie Shelton. And then as you can see, we have the different links of when the hearings are, and there are so many more. Gregory Walters, he has a previous hearing from 2020, so we'll cover that one. Look at this. All of these are return ofs. Everything with the orange is a return of. So we have so many coming up. So make sure to check out that playlist and give a huge thank you to Sir Richard and Lady Holly for making it easy to track these hearings. Lady Holly's fact of the day is a crocodile cannot stick its tongue out. Their tongues are attached to the roof of their mouths, so they can't move them. Huh. So try sticking your tongue to chocolate matter. It's not very comfortable. Anyways. I'll be out in 4 years. And with that, I'll let you go.
It took 10 or 15 minutes for me to pull it out of you. You had on up to it, Jim. I don't think you really realize the devastation. And we use your daughter's word, how vile this offense was to her. I've always said, and I did a lot of prep when I got appointed to this position 6.5 years ago. The first step to rehabilitation is to own up and take responsibility for what you did. You came out and said it this morning, but I don't think you're taking full responsibility for your actions. I don't think you were completely truthful with this panel this morning about how this offense got reported. You have tremendous opposition